But it was awesome. I got to meet a bunch, 26 other women that I'd never met before.
Wow.
And what, I even was able to connect somebody with John.
Fabulous.
So yeah, so it was, I kind of do something similar to what she does. She does this bike ride for women on Good Friday every year. And I kind of have decided I do a women's pool party in August every year. And it's kind of been my way of honoring other women.
Nice.
And so, yeah, so it was pretty cool.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here because we're broadcasting live on YouTube and recording this. It's just going to go on my website. But what she just said is key to all of us as business owners is we went down there and she basically had a conversation about my business, got me a client. So guess what that makes that trip? 100% write-off from start to finish. And so the IR and the S at whatever it is, I think 56 cents a mile from here to LA and back, plus the hotel, plus the food, plus everything is a 100%. It's not a small deduction. It's a 100% write-off from start to finish.
But so, you are not a financial professional, so you're making sure to give the disclaimer.
I am not a financial professional. Check with your tax guy. I've got my mentor advisor on the call here reminding me to have the disclaimers. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, let's get cracking. Hold on just a sec. Let me get me and Alan here. All right, Alan. Welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Small Business Owners Mastermind Group Call. We do this call every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. 4 basic calls every month. The first one is marketing. Second one is sales. This week is the third Thursday, and we're talking about operations, systems, service delivery. Next week, we're going to be talking about administration and finance. So perfect timing for this call. Before I get started, let me introduce my co-host here, who's soon to be the host for the rest of the call, because I have a hard stop here at shortly, and I'm going to have to be a guest. And so, Alan Reeves, please tell us about Shield IQ, yourself, and your past. And Alan's my co-host, man.
Sure. Thank you, John. Again, I'm Alan Reeves. Some people know me as Woody. I don't have that in the name box, but in any case, I have been a business owner for a little over 24 years. I've founded 4 different companies, several different brands. My latest venture is identity protection and servicing. Our #1 brand under that umbrella is Shield IQ, which is identity theft protection, dark web monitoring, and credit monitoring. That can be packaged all kinds of ways, bundled into other offerings. It's all kinds of fun. In any case, John, I got a Facebook notification earlier today. I was talking about how I don't do much social media, but I did have a Facebook notification showing me 1 year ago, you were promoting this show with me as your co-host. So go figure, it's our year anniversary. I thought that was outstanding. And for all the people on the call and for all the people that have been on the call and for those that will be on the call in the future, so very glad to have you here participating. Thank you as always. It means more than you know.
Well, hey man, high five, boom. Alan and I have been working together now since December 29th, 2015. It was a privilege to be introduced to him, and man, it's been a fun ride. Both have grown tremendously over the years. mousecallsonline.com, shieldiq.com. If you're not taking advantage of those services, you're a home-based business, an individual, you really need to check those 2 sites out and engage with those services. We've spent a tremendous amount of time personally together talking about these programs that are up there, and then Alan has 10x that as far as time investment on the back to make sure he delivers on every single thing that he promises to do. And I couldn't endorse him more highly. So that's my anniversary gift to you. So there you go. All right, I was just talking to somebody this afternoon. It's like I've been actually doing this call now. Carrie remembers I started this call, I believe, in May of 2013. And so if you're not a part of the 10X Mastermind group on Facebook, I highly recommend you join that group. I established that group because I was coaching, I think at the time, 26 people one-on-one, which was, I still don't know how I did that. Yeah, Carrie's shaking her head. She's done what I've done. She's like, that's a lot.
No, it wasn't just that. You're starting to sound like you're underwater. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I'm making Ellen a host here today. So, because we got this weather going on where I'm at, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. How about now? Is that better?
Much better.
Much better. Okay. Get it off of this. And so we wanted to create a call where small business owners could show up, they can mastermind together, share ideas, and just have that camaraderie. I mean, if you think about the top thing, my mentor a long time ago told me it's like 5 years from now where you will be 5 years from now will be a result of three things. Number one, the audios that you listen to and the videos that you watch. Number two, the books you read. And number three, the association. And so I wanted to create a mastermind group call that allows business owners like us to come together and collaborate, because we're all in the same boat. We have no boss. There's nobody above us. Some people will argue that and say, well, your customer's above us. Well, guess what? I can fire my customer anytime. If I don't like my customer and I don't enjoy working with the person, it's like, hey, bye. I'm going to go find another client. But you know what? Other business owners, we're talking about operations today. We're talking about leverage. We're talking about scaling your business. We're talking about building a team of people that duplicate you. And I've had so much experience in this space personally with the businesses. I did the math this morning, and all the companies I have owned and ran over the years, about 125 employees that I have had the privilege of meeting and working with over the years. And I'll just be honest, I'll be completely transparent. The first four companies, I was an ass, like my employees hated my guts, and well, I don't know that they hated my guts. They just didn't like me. I wasn't a nice guy, and it wasn't until Phil Bristol came into my life in 2007, April of 2007, and he said, you know what? You're never going to scale your business. You're never going to get your freedom. You are never going to ever get in a situation where you can, work less than 60 hours a week because you're a jerk. Now he called me a different word, but I'm like, I'm paying this guy to talk to me this way. I'm like, but he was telling me the truth. I paid him to tell me the truth and be transparent. And so he helped me understand that when somebody comes to work for my company, they're a team member. They're investing almost a third of their life at my office. And my job as the CEO is to get rid of that chief executive officer title where I'm up on the ivory tower. And really, I need to look at it as I am the chief encouragement officer, the chief servant officer. I need to focus all my energy and effort on making their lives the best it could possibly be while they're here. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep them, and they're not going to be better, And so I watched my current mentor, Grant Cardone, master this. So he does a daily team huddle with his employees, which I do with Ruth every morning. And, we're getting beyond this, getting used to each other phase and getting the systems out and getting the training. But once we get that process going down the road, my entire shift with Ruth is going to change. My job is going to change to where, how can I help her be the best person that she can possibly be on the planet? How can, when her and I part ways at some point in life, I want her to be able to look back and go, you know what? I have become a better human being, a better salesperson, a better business owner. I want her to be way more successful than even I am, And if I do that for every single person that comes on board, like I told her from day one, you're never going to hear the word employee come out of my mouth again when it comes to, us working together. I don't want you calling me boss or anything else. We are team members. And so I can tell you right now, from an operations standpoint, if you look and treat your people that work for you as, team members, and that they are 100% owners of the area of the business that you have, and your job is to help them be as successful as you possibly can in that area, your company will run and grow and scale, and you'll have not only the money, but the time, the freedom, and friends. One of the most recent clients I took on, who really just kind of really brought it back to full circle for me, guy named Tim Studinsky. He owns Bridge Coffee Company out of Yuba City. He's got 16 employees. And they get together once a month, and they call it a family meeting. Okay. Now, one of the team members came up with that saying. She says, "This is not a company meeting. This is a family meeting. They get together. Whoever's birthday it was that month, they celebrate their birthday. They bring gifts for that person, and they call it a family meeting." And I went up there and did some training for them at their recent family meeting. And the response of those people and just the camaraderie and the culture is just, and they're a retail coffee company. Now they do wholesale and retail, but we're talking people that are like at a Starbucks, right? But these guys are all like they're the CEO of the company. They care about the business. And I was just blown away. I was going, this guy has operations down pat. Every single one of these people care a lot about the company, the culture, each other. And when I went in and I taught them disc personality profiles and how to work together better as a team, the thing that this is the first time, and I've done, probably 200 of these workshops for disc personality profiles, TTI, that sort of thing. This is the first time I've ever had an operations person call me and go, every single one of my employees is wondering when you're going to send all that advanced training that you promised. They all want to do their own self-paced training. I'm like, what? I go, dude, it's only been 24 hours. Okay. I said, I'll give it to you, but I've never heard anybody come back like that. And it's a testament to that owner. And I'm using him as an example because that is the model that we as business owners want to build. We want our team members to be excited when they come to work. We want them to really care about the business, care about their role, and it only comes from this one thing. And a lot of you are listening to this recording. You, the owner, taking off your I'm on high hat, okay, and putting on that servant hat, and really understanding each person that belongs to your team and how you can help them be the best that they can possibly be in the area of the business that you have hired them for. You should pay them properly, bonus them properly. Every single person in your company should be trained in sales, not traditional sales, not like, we're going to manipulate, lie, all this other stuff. I'm talking real sales training. Selling equals service. Sell from honesty, integrity, and compassion. Selling's about leading. Selling's about moving people to action. It's empowering people to be promoters, raving fans of your business. Now, the book Raving Fans, highly recommend you go get it. Excellent book. But it talks about turning your clients into raving fans. And my twist on that book is not only do that, but turn your team members, AKA, for those of you that are still in the old language, employees, into raving fans. They're their best source of referrals. And so one of the things I learned when Ruth came on the team, is the last time I had a full-time team member on staff was about 3 or 4 years ago. And all the processes and systems and everything that person helped me just absolutely nail down, a lot of that stuff changes over time. And so I didn't realize, like, oh my God, that's outdated, that's outdated, that's outdated. Here's the lesson. I want you to learn from my mistake, okay? And I'm the guy teaching this, okay? So you all heard the saying, nobody, you know, the mechanics' clients' cars run great, but their own car is falling apart, okay? And so here's the thing I want to encourage you. As you build your business, as you change processes and systems, leverage technology, Zoom, Otter, you know, all the different medium platforms that we have. People are no longer interested in reading a written process step-by-step document, okay? So leverage these systems to update your processes. And when you bring on a team member, like Ruth came on, I'm like, hey, I've got this mastermind call I'm doing on Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific on Thursday, and we have to promote it. We have to encourage people to come to it. I have to create a video to promote it. I have to be involved in a social media post to encourage people to come to it. Alan Reeves, because he's a co-host, has to do the same. And I say, we've gotten lazy. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about Alan. I've gotten completely lazy with that. And I said, I need for you to take complete ownership of this call to make this call successful. So now we have 30, 40, 50, 60 business owners on this call every single week. And you have 100% my permission to rip apart the entire process and rebuild it with your expertise and the help of some assistants that I've hired to help her create a rock solid process. It's your baby. You don't have to come to me, you know, even though we check in every day, but it's most business. And here's the only reason I'm sharing this story. Most of you business owners, I'm not talking the ones on this call, most of you business owners are watching this recording or listening to this recording. The biggest challenge you have in the operations side of your business is getting out of the way. Okay. And I'm just being completely honest, because I've coached now hundreds of business owners, and this is the one area of the business that becomes that roadblock, that bottleneck. It's like nobody can do it better than me. Nobody, you know, I have my way of doing it. Nobody can do it better than me, and you don't trust people. And it's sad. It's I can't tell you how sad. Alan and I know a guy, his name starts with an S. That's all I'm going to say, and Alan will know who I'm talking about, okay? And it just broke my heart because it took the guy on, super struggling with his business, been in business 5 years, and we did some amazing things. We went from $147,000 a year to almost $960,000 a year in less than 3 years, and he got freaked out because he started having to turn over certain areas of his business in the operations side where he had to trust that individual to own that part, and he just couldn't do it. It really broke my heart because I invested so much energy and time into this person. Fell in love with the person. I love the guy as a person, as a friend, you know, watch his kid be born, you know, and just to watch all this success come crumbling to a screeching halt, and then to scale back from $950,000 to a comfort zone of 380 was, oh my God, it's like, dude, all because nobody can do it better than me. And if you're watching this recording and I'm hitting a nerve, here's the question. Do you want to do something about that, and do you want to change? Because if you do, continue to listen on. If you just don't, then I would recommend just shutting off the video, stop watching, and just be right where you're at. It's totally fine, man. Totally fine, you know? But at the end of the day, if you want to scale, if you want to have a team, you got to hire people that are better than you. I'm just going to say it. You got to hire people that are great. There, you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I do. I've, as a certified goals coach with Success Motivation Institute, and I used to do a complete time management course. Of course, that was back what we've kind of circled back around to a written planner, because it does make a difference when it's written and how it goes into your brain. But anyway, when I did a 2-day course for the CEO Club of San Francisco, one of the best compliments I ever got was a few days later from an executive assistant from one of the CEOs that was there. And she said, I could kiss you, because what you taught my CEO was to respect my time and not constantly interrupt me. Because he would say, oh, well, I need this, I need that. Do you have this? Do you have that? And just simply to put a piece of paper in front of himself that had her name on it and say, these are the things I need to talk to her about. And at 10 o'clock, I'm welcome to go do that. But to constantly interrupt your fabulous assistant or vice president, whomever it might be, constantly is a real waste of their time when you've hired somebody to do exactly what they're supposed to do. The second thing that you talked about that I really loved, and I don't know if you've ever read Johnny Johnson's biography, the founder of Ebony magazine, but he used to, and I'm going to misquote him because it's been so many years, but he used to say, I get up every morning wondering, how can I pick 2 or 3 of my employees, how can I make their day better? And I thought that was a great way to look at your staff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And you just reminded me, and Ruth's so nice, she's not going to say it. But I remember my previous assistant, Amy Tacker, man, she finally had to pull me aside and she said, listen, we do a daily huddle for a reason. And she's the one that came up with the idea. Now, I'd read it in books, but I'm like, I don't want to do that. I mean, you're my assistant. I can call you 20 times a day, And she said, no. Let's meet in the morning. We'll need about 15 minutes. Okay. We're going to debrief on what you need me to do today. Okay. It's your opportunity to bring it up. Okay. And then I need you to leave me alone. Okay. At the end of the day, I'll give you a summary of what I did, but you can't call me anymore unless the building's burning down and I need to get out. But you need to leave me alone if you want me to be successful. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, okay, you're right. And so I submitted to it, right? And so, but I found when you were just talking, I'm sitting here convicted because I've interrupted Ruth like 3 times today. And she's so nice, probably not going to say anything to me, but thanks for the reminder and the coaching, because starting tomorrow, Ruth, we'll do our morning huddle. I will leave you alone so you can be successful. She's like, yes, give me a thumbs up. And so that's great. So anyway, that's the operations discussion today. Is like, if you want to book on this, the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Actually get the E-Myth Revisited, the updated version by Michael Gerber. And Mike Michalowicz wrote a book called Clockwork. Really expands on that with a bunch of updated tools and everything for keeping your processes and your systems up to date and giving that team member ownership of that process, and that makes them they're responsible for keeping it up to date. Really good resources for the business. And so with that said, I'm going to open it up. Feel free to raise your hand. And if you have anything you want to add to what we've discussed, or you have something that you want to mastermind with this group on, the floor is open.
I'm going to have to bounce out really soon, but I wanted to really add to what you were saying about creating the systems and everything, because we used to call, when Karen and I were in business, it was make your business unreliable to viable to buyable. Well, it's kind of like a house. We don't make the house really, really nice till we're ready to sell it. But if you take your business and it's actually buyable now, it means you're running an optimum. And that's a great way to look at your business.
Love it. Love it. Love that golden nugget. Who else would like to jump in? Elson, you're unmuted. You got something you want to add?
I've got.
Hey, John.
We're not hearing you,
You're
Alan.
not, you're muted on your phone. Press *6.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Great.
Okay. No, so what I was thinking is that, you have to have the faith and the trust in, if you're going to hire somebody, that's what I run into in my own business, with business owners. When they have to rely on someone else to do a job that they feel they can do better, but they don't do it in general, it comes down to trust. And so when you are bringing somebody into your business, you better be prepared to trust them and to give them the ability to do the work that they're going to do or supposed to do. And like I said, with my business being a virtual assistant, I run into that in talking with business owners. I ask them, tell me about your day. What are the tasks that you enjoy doing that you don't like to do? And even though they don't like to do it, they want to hold on to it. And so then you realize how much time they're wasting just holding on to it, by just being able to trust somebody else that, it maybe somebody can actually do a little bit better job than what they're doing.
Very well said. Alan, you want to chime in on any of this?
What Allison just said kind of brings up a really good and bad point in how a business owner can scale. Because if you've got a factory and or you've got a restaurant, or you have something that depends on people being able to carry out fairly simplistic processes. I reference McDonald's a lot, because they're totally process driven. Let's reference McDonald's. That is a completely different animal than if you're trying to scale something that's more of a profession. And, if you are a medical facility and you are in need of another physician, sure, you can interview them. They can come in, they may be a cultural fit, they may not. But this person has a medical degree. The intangibles are going to be their personality, their bedside manner, how they get along with their peers, but also, frankly, some doctors are just more gifted than others. Their instincts are better. They learn faster. They have more empathy. As a result, they communicate with their patients better. And this kind of rolls back into what Steve Jobs so famously said, in that he hired people for his most significant roles that were very, very smarter than he was. There's, the gentleman who designed the very first iPhone iOS interface in 2007 still heads that department. And there's been 2 major iterations of the iPhone interface in its entire history. And Johnny Ive is the gentleman that did both of them. And the reason that the second iteration is out is because he felt like his first one was becoming a bit dated. And if you go now and just Google like 2010 iPhone screen, or what did iOS 2 look like, you'll see it. But that man and his mind is in charge of one thing, and that is the experience on Apple devices. If Steve Jobs's ego had prevented him from hiring Johnny Ive, where would we be? Seriously, think about this. If the iPhone didn't have so much of its distinctive functionality, would Android rule the market? It does everywhere else in the world. The only place that the iPhone rules the market is in the United States. And that's because the Android's cheaper to make. If Apple didn't have the polish and the sheen and the ease of use and the dependability that engineering and Johnny Ive brought to it, then again, where would it be? Just another also ran? It's hard to know. We'll never know. We don't live in that timeline. But Jobs always did that. He always like, well, if it's going to be an important position, I want somebody that I can, and Allie, it's kind of your words. He wanted somebody where he didn't have to think about them. I mean, like complete and total trust. And in the Steve Jobs model, if you cannot execute on the highest level, then that means he's got to think about it. And that did not work for him. So again, what you do and your type of business, your type of enterprise, whether it is menial labor, flipping burgers, all the way up to rocket scientists. Processes are always important throughout. There's no question. But one size does not fit all. And the people that you bring in do absolutely matter from a trust standpoint. They truly do. That is across the board. If you hire the wrong person at McDonald's, they're going to steal out of your register. But again, at a higher level, if you really want to solve your problems, you need to bring in somebody that can execute on those challenges, ideally better than you can, so that you can take that and scale it. You all of a sudden you've got this piece in the mix that is great talent that can do this stuff over and over and over again because they're sharp as a tack. Well, let them do it. Let them go. Go. You do that all day long. And I'm going to be out here knowing that you can take care of this, selling this because I know you've got it. John had a relationship like that once in a business he had. He had an engineer. They had a company, they were bringing in good money. This engineer just ran everything and John grew the business. And that's how they scaled it. So, scale.
I got out of his way.
Yeah, got out of his way. So that is, if you are a business owner and you've got a bit of it's no shame, it's no problem to have a bit of a control mentality. In the early days of my first business, I fought with this because I had the business for 5.5 years on my own before I ever hired a soul. And these folks that came in, my first generation of engineers, nobody quite did it the way that I did it. But what was interesting? The one star that I had back then, his previous job was making sandwiches at Subway. He was a student studying information technology. I hired him part-time. And because he had a service background, he killed it. He knew how to deliver for people where these other folks just didn't. It was a little intangible there. But again, I'm just taking exactly what Allie said and kind of maybe spinning it up or taking it to a different level or a different perspective. You've got to trust, absolutely. You've got to trust them. And you also, as Ronald Reagan said, you got to trust but verify. You trust them. And then, after one thing that we do in my IT company is every ticket that gets closed sends Ruth will like this, by the way, it sends an invitation to a customer satisfaction survey to the client. It will not do we won't do it to the same client within a 45-day period because we don't want to wear them out. But whenever somebody fills that out, it pops the results over into our Slack channel. And so the entire staff can see what this person said and who they said it about. And I had somebody on my staff come to me and they said, "You really want to do that? Because we're going to get some bad ones here and there." And I'm like, I absolutely do. Because frankly, I want my staff to understand that if you get a bad review, it's not a killer. It's not a deal breaker. Let's talk about it. Also, there's some crazy people out there. There's some people you will never hear from them once they have something to complain about. And if we can be transparent, then I think that's just better for the culture all around.
Yep. No, I agree. 100%. So, Chris, you had a question?
Actually, I was just going to say, we talk about bringing somebody on board and not being able to do the same things that we can do in the same ways that we can do. And kind of alluding to what you were saying earlier about letting go. But if you want to make it easy for them, you give some freedom for them to think about ways to do things better and encourage mistakes. It's going to be okay, because that's where you learn, right? But I like showing people how I do things, and maybe even recording it, right? Record it so they can refer back and then go back and say, hey, you can improve on this any way you see, and give them the authority to go ahead and do that and make your business better. I mean, you will improve, kind of like what you were saying earlier about the Steve Jobs analogy, that's you hire people that are smarter than you.
Yeah. I mean, you hit on a great point. It's like, you bring them on, hire people better than you, give them the freedom. It's like one of the things I told Ruth when we first got started. It's like, I need you to make as many mistakes as you possibly can, as quickly as you can. So what I consider success in the first month is the amount of mistakes you make. I mean, there's no way to improve. I mean, we learn best when we make mistakes. And there was a book, I forget the author, I think it was actually either John Maxwell or somebody else. There's a book called Failing Forward. Okay, really good book. Because people are I don't want to fail. It's like, but you don't understand. It's like, in order to be successful, you have to fail. It's like this sign I have in my office right here. It says, what does it say? Hold on a second. It says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and miss. I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. It's a quote by Michael Jordan. And it's like, you got to understand, when a new team member joins your team, new person joins your team, they want to be on their best game. They're like, it's a new job, man. It's a new opportunity. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to look like I failed. I don't want to look like this. And it's like, the leader that understands servant leadership, that understands successful leadership, is going to put their arms around that person and go, listen, man, I would rather you get the pain over quick, but I need you to take ownership of this role as quickly as possible. And the fastest way there is for you to mess up as much as you possibly can. There's only so many modules you can read, listen to, and watch. But if you don't get in the game and get hit, then all you're doing is on the sidelines reading the playbook, but you never have any actual experience, And so I've been very, very proud of you, Ruth, specifically because, I've given you a bunch of, here's how I've done it, here's the training, but my gosh, I didn't realize how much needed to be fixed until you came to the table and go, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. But you took ownership of it. You took ownership, and I'm like, hey, whatever you recommend, this is what we're going to do, and just like, hey, that's the fastest path to success. And so I think understanding the human element when you bring on people onto your team, and understanding this is a new deal for them, new culture. They want to make an impression. They want to stand out. They want to make their mark, but you want to encourage them. It's like Mike McAllister in his book Clockwork. For the first 2 weeks, ask as many questions as you want. After 2 weeks, you're only allowed to come to me with 2 questions a month, and that's it. And other than that, I hired you to figure it out in your role. I expect you to take ownership of it. I expect you to be better than me in that area. If you fail, at least take ownership and responsibility for it and fix it. But you're never going to get fired by me for doing your best and taking responsibility. I don't want excuses. I don't want blame game. I just want you to be a professional and take ownership. And he's like, man, you know, the companies that I've been able to, he called it clockwork because the systems and processes he teaches in that, if you follow them, it creates a company that just runs like clockwork. Just solid, you know? And so those are all really good resources. And Ruth, you unmuted yourself, so you have something that you want to add.
Yeah, I do. Actually, several years ago when I got into real estate, I was just having just a terrible time. I couldn't get a client to save my life, and I needed a little saving at the time. So I went to a restaurant, and they had fortune cookies, and I was able to. I cracked open the fortune cookie, and I usually just throw the paper away, and I just happened to read it. And it's something I taped it onto my desk and stared at it. And it said, failure is the tuition we pay for success. So that has been my motto. And I just kept at it and just kept working until, I finally did get my one client who's my stalwart, who's been with me from, probably the first year. And that's how that's how I move forward. I can't be afraid of success, of failing. Being afraid to fail is the one thing that stops a lot of people. I know it was stopping me from actually moving forward. So I just learned, yes, I just got to keep going. And then, I come from this, what he would say, I come from an ISO 9000 background. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was kind of a nightmare, but it worked. And it's been very important for me to go in and kind of pull the radio apart to see what all the parts are and why it's not working, or what needs to be put together to make it function at its best. So, doing that has made me realize some of the things that I can do to help make the employers, the people that I work with, get the best possible that I'm able to deliver, and then if I can't, if there is a little bit of a stumble, hey, you learn from it and you move on. Just keep going, one step in front of the other, take note and then just keep moving.
That's Ruth. That's so well said. Fear is cancer. It really and truly is. And it wasn't a fortune cookie, but about 14 or 15 years ago, I was doing work for a client of ours. They were a psychiatrist's office, and I was in the main doctor's office, and he had one of those little daily pull-off calendars that had, it had different quotes for every day. And the quote that was up for that day, I read it and I read it again and I read it again and I read it again. And I asked him straight up, I'm like, do you mind if I take today's day? I know I'm getting ahead of, I'm throwing you off, but this is profound. Like, we didn't have cell phone cameras. I said, can I take this? And I still have that. I still have that up on one of our bulletin boards. And the quote says, crisis and the resultant adrenaline are excellent reasons for the majority of people to procrastinate. Basically, if you allow anything, whether it is something that seems menial, something that seems like it's a big deal, if you allow it to throw you off your mission, or you allow yourself to be diverted, a lot of times, and again, I had to read through this again and again and again. A lot of times it's because in reality, you wanted to be diverted. You did not want to have to deal with the big hairy elephant in the door. You didn't want to have to deal with those major challenges or that big one thing or things that were holding you back or preventing you from closing a deal or preventing you from doing this. Sometimes you've got to take, with life, you've got to take leaps. You've got to take leaps, and fear holds so many people back in their personal lives, in their business lives. You're absolutely correct. You're spot on.
Thank you.
We may have John, we may not. I don't think we
Yes.
do. We do
Can you
have
hear me?
John. We can hear you. We cannot see you, but I'm hoping that you didn't get pummeled by hail.
Oh, no, I just had to switch to the phone only, so made you the host. And so, but it's been a great call. It's been a great call. And, Alan and I are available to any of you on the live call or on the recording. Ever need any help in any aspect of your business, either go to mousecallsonline.com or johnpyron.com. Feel free to book an appointment. We're here to help. This is something that we're passionate about. Take our time every week on Thursday, show up at 4 p.m. Pacific to pour our time and energy into you. We've been in business for a long time, and we've had a lot of success, and we want to spend the rest of our lives giving back and helping small business owners be successful. So with that, Alan, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself, and then, you run the rest of the show, and I'll be here.
Very good. Well, again, as John said, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you being here. When we talk about what we kind of looked at today, the focus is operations, right? But we've talked about trust. We've talked about fear. We've talked about intelligence. We've talked about processes. All these things that, processes and operations, you don't think immediately, you think of sort of an employee handbook when you think of operations. You think of something that's not tangible, but everything we've talked about today is people oriented. It has to do with the human element of the folks that we are bringing in. And, John really hit home with me when he was talking about that gentleman that he used to work with. And he said it breaks his heart. Well, it does mine too, because, right now with one of my businesses, I'm in a situation where I'm trying to do the exact opposite of what that guy did. I've got too much of the day-to-day busy work still attached to me. I want to bring in someone that I can trust implicitly, learn the processes, work with my business partner to address these clients, learn the client base, learn the culture, work with my help desk, but be sort of a high-level boots on the ground here. And I want to be able to focus on the other things that I'm better at, which is marketing and sales and scaling. I've got a pipeline right now that's got great stuff in it that it's hard for me to get to. And I get up at 5 every morning. I hit the gym 3 times a week. I try to do everything right, but there's just a lot. So I need somebody to offload to. I need the last thing that I want to be doing is micromanaging or lording over service tickets or anything like that. Not that my vision or what I'm saying is right for every scenario, but that's how you scale, folks. That's how you grow. That's how you get momentum going. Because if you're pushing the cart by yourself, if you hire somebody to push the cart that's bigger and stronger than you, then you can hawk more wares. You're pushing the cart more places, and then you can afford more stuff and more people and bigger carts. But if you just believe that the only person in the world that's got all these little keys just right, and the only person in the world that your clients are going to respond positively to is you, then you are going to be the guy or the gal who wakes up at 55 years old and is looking 10 years down the road and go, oh my gosh, I can't sell this thing. I can't sell it because the entire business is me. So you got to make these decisions. You know, processes, operations are your friend. Getting the right people in, that is so critically important. And being able to respond quickly, which is what I'm dying with right now, is because of the workload. Ruth knows. Ruth sent me an email 6 hours ago. I haven't replied to it yet. I acknowledged it, but it's a lot more difficult. It's so much more difficult when you put unnecessary burdens on yourself, or you make things harder than they have to be. Sometimes you've got to trust other people. You've got to trust in the universe. You've got to, again, close your eyes and take that trust fall, take that flying leap, whatever you want to call it. You've got to be willing to do that. That's part of what business is, being willing to fall on your face. As Lord knows, I saw a statistic one time for Thomas Edison, and there's different schools of thought about Thomas Edison, but I think it was 110 different tries for the light bulb before he got it sort of right. And then once he had it there, he was able to leverage what he knew worked and get it quickly to market. So anybody have anything else for the evening? Are we all good? All right. Well, thanks to everyone that's been on the call. For all of you on video, Christina, Chris, and Ruth, thank you for joining us. The ones that had to drop off earlier, we appreciate you being here. The ones listening on the recording or watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast channels, we absolutely appreciate your participation. We appreciate your enthusiasm. We appreciate you every single week. Thank you for helping make this happen. We look forward to growing it more and more and more. And Ruth, I'll be talking to you about that sometime this week. I've got a couple of ideas as far as promotion. On behalf of my co-host, John, everybody have a wonderful Thursday evening. Let's go have a great weekend. Here's hoping everybody gets great weather. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.